The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I am Diego Castro. The Senate targets to ratify the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP trade agreement within the first quarter of the year. That's according to Senate President Mig Zubiri, who says ratifying the trade deal is a priority of the chamber. Business World reports that Zubiri hopes to secure at least 16 votes to ratify RCEP. The Senate Committee on Foreign Relations will hold a hearing on RCEP tomorrow, February 7th. This will be attended by stakeholders. Zubiri said that there are plans to conduct another hearing for those opposing the RCEP. Lawmakers will resume hearing today their proposals to amend some provisions of the 1987 Constitution. On the agenda are tweaks to the economic provisions of the Charter and prescribing the order of presidential succession. Congressmen will also tackle proposals for a constitutional convention and the qualification of its delegates. In other news, search operations continue for the missing Cessna 206 plane in Isabela. The incident management team said 2 Air Force choppers were able to penetrate the crash site on Sunday, February 5th, but they haven't found any sign of the missing aircraft so far. Army soldiers on the ground have also reached the vicinity and are now trying to find the plane. The Philippine Space Agency, for its part, plans to use a radar satellite. Cessna 206, which was scheduled to land in the town of Maconacon, went missing on January 24. At least 6 people were reportedly on board the aircraft. On to some global updates. Beijing says it reserves the right to take further actions after the U.S. military shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon which traversed sensitive military sites across North America. China has insisted that the flyover was just an accident involving a civilian aircraft. It also criticized the U.S. for, quote, an obvious overreaction and a serious violation of international practice. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says, quote, China will resolutely uphold the relevant company's legitimate rights and interests and at the same time reserving the right to take further actions in response. China's Ministry of Defense echoed the statement, saying it reserves the right to take necessary measures to deal with similar situations. The U.S. military shot down the high-altitude balloon off the Carolina coast on order from no less than U.S. President Joe Biden.
On Wednesday, when I was briefed on the balloon, I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit. They successfully took it down, and I want to compliment our aviators who did it, and we'll have more to report on this a little later. Thank you.
We will be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. A special rapporteur of the United Nations begins his 3-day visit to the Philippines today. But the Justice Department clarified that Dr. Maurice Tidbal Binz is coming to the country in his professional capacity as a forensic pathology expert and not as the UN Special Representative. Tidbal Binz is the UN Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial or arbitrary executions. The DOJ said Secretary Boying Remulla personally met Tidbal Binz last November and invited him to visit the Philippines to conduct a capacity-building mission. The UN Special Rapporteur is scheduled to meet with Remulla and other cabinet officials, as well as PNP Chief Rodolfo Azurin Jr., NBI Director Medardo de Lemos, and several civil society organizations. Slain overseas Filipino worker Julie Miranara was laid to rest in Las Piñas City on Sunday. A funeral procession was held for the domestic worker whose remains were buried at Golden Haven Memorial Park. Ranara died at the hands of her employer's son in Kuwait, where her body was burned and dumped in a desert. Aside from loved ones, also present at the funeral was the sister of the slain OFW Joanna Demafelis, whose body was found in a freezer in 2018. The kin of Demafelis renewed their calls for justice for Joanna, saying that they have not heard any progress on the case as of late.
May update naman po nung 2021 po, tapos ng 2022 at saka ngayong 2023 wala na po. Pero nung March po, pumunta po ako doon sa DFA po. Tapos tinawagan po ako nung June 16, sabi magsasagawa po ng hearing sa Kuwait, yung last hearing po. Tapos sinabihan po na ako na okay na po, panalo na po yung kaso ng ate ko. Pero sabi nila, tatawagan na lang po kami ulit kung ano yung next step po ng case ng ate ko.
Meanwhile, the government vowed to provide all possible assistance to Ranara's family.
Sunod na hakbang natin ay yung hustisya na hinihiling at kailangan na maibigay sa pamilya at kay Jollibee. And now that our duty sa welfare ay naibigay natin lahat, it's susunod nating hakbang. Of course, OWA will be in full support of all the steps to be taken by the DMW and the DFA and the government para yung itong masakit, napakasakit na nangyari dito sa pamilyang Jollibee.
President Bongbong Marcos vows to protect the welfare of overseas Filipino workers and their families. In a vlog, Marcos Jr. said housing and scholarships will be provided to the children of OFWs. Programs for migrant workers who wish to come back and look for a job have been put in place as well. The president said this is the government's way to reciprocate their contributions to the country.
Tutulungan natin sila sa training, yung tinatawag na reskilling and upskilling dahil yung ibang trabaho na lumalabas ngayon na highly technical. Kaya ita-training natin ang ating mga OFW para kaya nila magkipagkompetensya sa labor market sa buong.
The government has approved 7 big-ticket infrastructure projects under the Public-Private Partnership Scheme. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez with a report.
Seven projects have been approved by the National Economic and Development Authority Board. These are said to be the big-ticket infrastructure projects of the Marcos administration. Based on initial estimates, the indicative total cost for these approvals would be at 154.7 billion pesos. The first project approved by the NEDA Board is the construction of a cancer center at the University of the Philippines Philippine General Hospital. This will be the first public-private partnership project under the leadership of President Bongbong Marcos. Aside from that, the NEDA Board also approved the additional 7.6 million peso budget for the rehabilitation of MRT-3. When asked if there's a possibility of a fare increase after the rehabilitation, Secretary Arsenio Balisacan had this to say.
The public consideration, the public interest consideration is always high in the agenda of the government. So, hindi mangyayari yan.
The NEDA Board likewise granted for the use of the 2.1 billion peso loan from the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA. This is for the proper air traffic management in the country following the recent technical glitch in our airports. The construction of a new Dumaguete Airport under the DOTR has also been given the green light. The same goes for the Mindanao Inclusive Agriculture Development Project of the DA and the Integrated Flood Resilience and Adaptation Project of the DPWH. Lastly, the NEDA board confirmed the ICC approval of DOTR's request for changes in scope, increase in cost, and extension of the implementation period for the Metro Davao Public Transport Modernization Project. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
No more weeping in a party bathroom for Taylor Swift, as All Too Well, the short film, bags the award for Best Music Video at this year's Grammys. Swift's self-directed music video, Bested Easy on Me by Adele, yet to come by BTS, Woman by Doja Cat, As It Was by Harry Styles, and Kendrick Lamar's The Heart Part 5. The latest award is the 12th edition to the singer-songwriter's Grammy Hall. The same song featured in the music video is also up for Song of the Year, while Swift's I Bet You Think About Me has been nominated for Best Country Song. Swift's Carolina, however, failed to win Best Song Written for Visual Media, as Encanto takes the award with the track We Don't Talk About Bruno. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register an account now at signalplay.com so you can stream One News live, anytime, anywhere. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.